Hey there, welcome back to the channel. So today I was working on some yard work and my blower stopped working for some reason and then it wouldn't crank back up. And as I was pushing the primer bulb, I noticed that it's basically just pulling in bubbles. It's not pulling in anything. There is fuel in here. You should see, yeah, you can see that there's fuel in here. And I already checked in here to make sure that the position of the filter weight has fuel. I mean, it's plenty good. There's plenty of fuel in there, and that's not the issue at all. And I've kind of started looking in the gas tank, and I see nothing. I see no issues here. Like the fuel line looks fine. It's still connected, so I really don't see an issue here. But it's pulling air, so we need to keep digging and see what's going on with this thing and why it's pulling air bubbles. Another common issue is the primer bulb will crack or go bad. I don't really see any cracks on it. It doesn't look like it's an issue, but we may need to dig in deeper to see a little bit better. I've kind of looked around with the flashlight too, and I don't see any leaking fuel. I don't really smell leaking fuel, so if the fuel line was cracked or cut, it should be more apparent. So I really don't think that is the problem. And the fuel line goes behind this plastic panel and into the tank. So I mean, if it was cracked and messed up, I should see signs of like leaking, and I really don't. And again, it would, you would really be able to feel it on the bottom. It should, if it's leaking that substantially, it should be running out somewhere. There's literally, it's bone dry everywhere down here. There's like a little bit of residue on this fuel line, but I don't think it's enough to be the problem. And I really don't see anything in there that looks wet enough to be the problem. So I guess we're gonna get this side panel off, this plastic cover here, and let's see if we can see a little bit better what's going on. This is actually the first time I've had to take this thing apart. I've had it for, honestly, I think it's been 4 years, maybe even 5. I've had it for a while. This is actually my newest piece of Stihl equipment. All my other ones are older. Typically, the recoil spring is enclosed in the housing, so taking this side panel off should not be a problem as far as like the spring coil coming apart. Now I'm still going to be careful when I take this apart, because just in case, but typically they're enclosed and held within the side plastic, so it should hopefully not be a problem. I think that's all of them. This is the spark plug boot, maybe. Okay, it does come out. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do something special to take more stuff apart. There we go. Yeah, it should be fine in there. It's locked in, so that's good. All right, now we can see a lot better what's going on. It is a little damp up here. It may be the carburetor itself up here. Let's just check and see if any of these... No, that's on there pretty good. That one's good. Now they could still be leaking even though they're tight on there, but I really don't think that they are. Because there's not really a super strong gas smell. Let me go get Phillips. We'll just see if these screws up here are loose. And I guess go from there. I'm kind of out of ideas already with what it could be. Because like I said, the primer bulb was good. All the fuel lines look good. It's pretty sure it's got to be something to do with one of the fuel lines though, even though they all seem really good. So anyways, let me go get a couple things. Be right back. See if I can even get to these back ones. Not really. That's unfortunate. Because taking this whole side piece off is not going to be fun. I guess I could take the whole carb off. Let's just see if these front two are loose at all. Nah. Nah, they're not. Alright, let's see if I can squeeze this in here and get... Poke around, see if anything is broken. I may just have to take this whole thing off, and yeah, looks like that's just what we're gonna have to do, unfortunately. I'm not, like I said, I've never taken this one apart before, so I have no idea how this one works. So let's see. Let me move the camera. There's just a rubber boot on this back corner back here that's holding it onto the carburetor. Okay, it is. Okay, there is wet right there. I don't know if you can tell. You can probably, hopefully can. So fuel is leaking. It must just be such a small leak that it's not getting too far. All right, let's see. Yeah, I mean, it could also be just, I don't think so, because it goes downhill. I was thinking maybe it could be just coming back this way with the fuel sitting in there, but I don't know about that, because it just doesn't seem like it would do that based on this going downhill. But there's a more fuel right here. There's a drip on the bottom corner back here. Let me see if I can take you off the stand really quick and show you. Alright. The back corner of the carburetor has a pretty big drip. Not sure if you can tell. It's hard for me to see on this tiny screen. But we're gonna keep digging and see what could be leaking out. I mean, it could be this fuel line here. None of these have clamps on them, but they also don't feel like they're loose either. So I don't know. All right, relocated us so that I have a little bit better light. I've got a underneath or undermount cabinet light on these cabinets for this exact purpose. Although working on this thing under here is a little bit difficult just because it's still kind of shadowed, but it's better than how it was before. So I'm just gonna wiggle some of these a little bit better now that I actually have better access to them. Yeah, I mean, none of them are loose. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like soaked, but it was a decent sized drip. All right, let's see if we can pull this off here without taking any of the fuel lines off. Kind of doubt it. Oops, covering you. I'm gonna do some digging and I'll bring you back if I find anything. All right, so I've looked everywhere. There's definitely no blatant fuel leak, as far as on any of these fuel lines. I mean, it's dry enough to where I don't think any of those were leaking. And if they had a crack in them, they'd show signs. I mean, I'd be able to tell that it was leaking. Why there was fuel here and on the bottom, I don't know. Like possibly pulling it apart, there was just residual fuel in here that wasn't getting used and it just pulled up a little bit, maybe. What I do know is somehow randomly now the primer bulb is working, or it appears to be working, like it's at least pulling fuel. I'm not sure how well you can tell, but there's fuel in there now, like it should run. I don't know why randomly it started working. I've done literally nothing except for like tug on the fuel lines a little bit. You know, these two screws were tight. I really haven't done anything. So I'm gonna put it back together and we're gonna see if it works and then chalk it up to possibly the diaphragm in here going bad. Although 4 years, I run complete ethanol free. So 4 years, 5 years, I don't technically shouldn't be bad already, but maybe it just is. Or it's going out, getting bad. Either way, I'm gonna put it back together, see if it works. If not, then we'll take it from there. Now we're using common sense here. I'm not cranking down on it super hard. This is how I'm turning it, and I'm not cranking on it super hard because these are all plastic pieces and it's not needed. It's not required for this to have 50 foot-pounds of torque. So, all right, now this goes in. Well, I guess before I do this, I could put the side piece back on. See how hard this is going to be to get back on underneath this. I think it went like... No, I think it did go under. Now I don't remember. It looks like this went under. It doesn't feel like it wants to go under. Oh, maybe now. Let's see. I may actually have to look up a picture to see if that actually... It looks like it's supposed to go under, but it really doesn't feel like it wants to go underneath this boot. Yeah, there's nothing in the way. This is kind of where it needs to go. Yeah, I think it does go under. It's just a very tight fit. Let me go grab a flathead screwdriver. My Stihl branded flathead screwdriver. And I'm just gonna get this boot to go up over this how it's supposed to, and hopefully not ruin it. This is the side that's like really pinching. Oh, okay, that worked. So I just pushed down on this plastic and then pulled up here. Maybe that's why these indentions are here. I don't know. Or that could just be to help pull it off, but that worked either way. Try it on this side. This side's a little tougher. Okay, now let's hope that we didn't break anything. It still doesn't want to go in, but it's lining up. Like, if it's lined up to everything. So it's just, could be this. doubt it, because it feels like it's something up top up here that's binding. Yeah, I mean, it's probably still this boot that's just being a pain. Yep, that's what it was. Just had to give it a little extra encouragement to get going. All right, good. So let's see if we can get the rest of this boot out. Just like a little corner piece. I don't know if you can even tell, but there. Now it's perfect. Like brand new. Oh, this needs to go up. There we go. Cool. Everything is lined up. Now I just hope that it does actually work whenever I go to use it, but it really does look like it's working correctly now. I don't know what, other than, like I said, the diaphragm possibly like on its way out going bad. By the diaphragm, I mean there's like a little mini fuel pump inside of the carburetor that pumps the fuel, and that could be going bad. It could have like a tiny pinhole in it. It could be hardening up due to age, in which case it doesn't push fuel as well as it should. All of those situations just requires you to get a carb kit. Alright, and we're just going to tighten these down. Again, using common sense. I think they probably have torque specs for all of this, but just, I don't do torque specs, so I've never needed to. If you're doing something like a cylinder head bolt, then yeah, something that requires compression to work, obviously you want to do it to torque specs. All right, anyways, let's take it outside. Let's see if it works. All right, your guess is as good as mine. I'm guessing it's gonna need a carb kit. I may go ahead and order it just to have it here in case it does it again, but it's working perfectly fine. And like I said, I've done literally really nothing. I've tugged on the fuel lines, they didn't budge. Took off the 2 bolts holding on the carburetor, you know, it moved it out just to kind of inspect everything, and nothing looked like it was leaking extremely bad. Everything looks good. The primer bulb is perfect. And besides the little bit of fuel residue that I found when I first took off the plastic carburetor plate, it wasn't leaking substantially bad. So my guess is going to be the fuel pump inside of the carburetor is just on its way out and will need to be replaced soon. As to why it randomly works now versus earlier it wasn't, it could also be a piece of debris was in there, little teeny tiny piece of sand or something was in there that was causing issues, and now it's cleared out somehow from me messing with it. Don't know, but you know, that's just how these things go sometimes. So with that, I mean, I hope you enjoyed the video, I guess. This very short video where basically nothing happened, except you saw me take apart blower and put it back together, and it magically works. So with that, I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Bonus footage. So while I was editing the video, I noticed that, so here the primer bulb was completely empty, and at this point it was still just pulling in bubbles the whole time. And then between this and the next video, in between several of these cuts, I was sitting there pushing the primer bulb off camera just to, keep working it to see if it was going to do anything. And it seems like at some point, somewhere right in here, between these two clips, it started pulling in fuel again, because in this clip I noticed that there was fuel in it, at least more than it had before, and it looks like a substantial amount in there. So at some point it started working and I just didn't notice, and so we just went further, and is what it is. But I still chalk it up to, you can see pretty well here that there's enough fuel in there now, it's actually working. But I still chalk it up to either that diaphragm is going bad, or there was just something stuck. I mean, I just have a hard time believing there was something stuck in there, just because there is a filter on the end of the fuel line. So I don't know how something would have gotten in there, but either way, it does appear to be working now. And I figure that the eagle eyes among you would probably have noticed that anyways during the video, if I noticed it. So I can see here how high there's plenty of fuel in the bulb right here at this point. So either way, that's it for this video. Catch you next time.